When Ronnie Barker and Ronnie Corbett stepped onto the BBC stage, they didn't just make people laugh, they created an institution. Behind the sketches and spectacles lay friendship, precision, and decades of unseen brilliance. Fact 1.
It's a good evening from me, and it's a good evening from him.
The two Ronnies met on the Frost Report in 1966.
I look up to him because he is upper class, but I look down on him because he is lower class.
Barker was already a seasoned character actor, Corbett, a rising stand-up from Edinburgh. Their chemistry was instant, built on rhythm and contrast, Barker's authority and Corbett's charm. When David Frost ended his show, the pair stayed in touch, occasionally performing together on stage. In 1971, the BBC asked them to co-host a one-off special. Viewer response was overwhelming. Controller Bill Cotton ordered a full series within weeks. Thus, the Two Ronnies was born, combining sketches, serial parodies, and musical finales. The format mirrored variety theatre, but with television polish. Each episode opened with mock news items and ended with, "And it's good night from him." The sign-off became national shorthand for partnership. Over 16 years, they filmed more than 90 episodes. Their double act defined Saturday Night Britain. What began as convenience became enduring legend. The title might have been simple, but its chemistry was unrepeatable.
We've got a de-lessing, de-lousing. We've got a manning, minning, meaning, mining. Morning.
Morning.
Fact 2.
You want some more beer? Yeah, I'll have a mouthful. Oh, sorry, I've only brought a pint.
Barker's brilliance lay in language. He wrote under pseudonyms like Gerald Wiley, so scripts would be judged fairly. Even producers didn't know he was submitting them. When his identity was revealed, colleagues applauded the deception as genius. He loved wordplay, spoonerisms, and comic reversals. Sketches such as Four Candles and the class sketch showcased his obsession with rhythm. He memorized scripts like musical notation. Between takes, he rewrote lines until timing was perfect to the second. Barker viewed comedy as mathematics with emotion attached. His characters, from bumbling shopkeepers to pompous officers, always had heart beneath absurdity. Fellow writers said he treated dialogue like poetry.
Fielding moulding and wilding welding, but what with fielding folding and wilding melding with belding, it's become a belding holding.
Outside the studio, he was quiet, modest, and happiest in costume. Barker retired in 1987 to run an antiques shop, proving fame never defined him. When he died in 2005, tributes hailed him as the engineer of laughter. Every word he wrote still clicks like clockwork.
Come to bestow her radiance upon our drab world of mortals.
Fact 3.
My wife has a babysitter, a cook, someone to clean the house at the weekends, and a washer up. And I'm bleeding exhausted.
Corbett's monologues became signature moments. Each began with him settling into his armchair, teacup in hand. His digressive storytelling felt casual, but was tightly scripted. Writers like Ian Davidson built jokes around his pauses and self-corrections. Corbett's natural warmth made audiences lean in. He represented the everyman bewildered by bureaucracy and modern life. Behind the scenes, he rehearsed timing meticulously, marking breath points on scripts. Directors adjusted lighting to highlight his expressions. His jokes never punched down, they invited empathy. Even royalty requested private copies of his monologues. Off camera, he was as kind as on screen. Technicians said he greeted everyone by name, from cameramen to cleaners. He maintained that humour worked best with a wink, not a whip. Corbett's storytelling style influenced stand-ups from Michael McIntyre to Peter Kay. When he passed away in 2016, Britain lost its gentlest conversationalist. His chair remains empty, but his rhythm endures. Fact 4.
Are you trying to make a fool of me?
Good heavens, no. No. I think you're managing very well on your own.
Scripts for the Two Ronnies came from a pool of Britain's best writers. Names included David Nobbs, Spike Milligan, and David Renwick. Each was briefed to craft wordplay suited to Barker and Corbett's distinct cadences. Sketches were tested in front of small, invited audiences before filming. Barker often edited punchlines to sharpen logic. The pair believed clarity created bigger laughs. Producers balanced highbrow word puzzles with pure slapstick. Visual gags required hours of costume fittings and prop rehearsals. The team shot inserts on 16mm film to add cinematic flair. BBC engineers pioneered split-screen techniques to double the Ronnies in one frame. Scripts were stored alphabetically in Barker's personal archive, now preserved by the BFI. The precision turned comedy into craft. Each episode resembled theatre disguised as television. Their respect for language elevated mainstream humour. Behind simplicity lay thousands of deliberate choices. The sketches still teach timing to comedians today.
I'm from the Ministry of Sex Equality. I'm here tonight to explain the situation man to man. My name is Mr. Stroke Mrs. Barker.
Fact 5.
Woke up here in the C&A bra with the Sultan's harem.
Every episode ended with a lavish musical finale. The Ronnies performed original songs with dancers, orchestras, and elaborate puns. Musical director Ronnie Hazelhurst composed arrangements that matched lyrical wit. Rehearsals took longer than sketch filming. Barker sometimes wrote lyrics under Gerald Wiley. Corbett's love of jazz-shaped tempo. Costumes were extravagantly themed. Pirates, vicars, shopgirls, yet always elegant. The BBC Variety Orchestra recorded live under strict union time limits. Mistakes meant restarting entire numbers. Dancers remembered the duo rehearsing until midnight to perfect synchronization. Those finales fused vaudeville with television spectacle. Viewers saw polished chaos. Backstage, it was military precision. Music allowed the Ronnies to parody every genre, from opera to pop.
In the desert when the night wind gnaws, you can't beat flannel for your winter draw.
Critics later called the finales a weekly West End show in miniature. They proved comedy could sing as well as speak. Without them, the programme would have lacked its joyful rhythm.
Lambriani, Pakistani, Papadamarat.
Fact 6.
Knick-knack, pretty wax, sleep is on the way. Start again on Boxing Day.
Barker and Corbett's partnership thrived on mutual respect. They never competed for punchlines. Barker handled structure. Corbett provided spontaneity. Decisions were unanimous, even costume colour. They spent holidays together with families, rarely discussing work. When Barker retired, Corbett refused to continue the show with anyone else. Their loyalty became legendary within the BBC. In interviews, Corbett said their friendship was the secret ingredient audiences could feel. During rehearsals, they communicated through glances, anticipating each other's cues. Directors noted they never needed retakes due to missed timing. When Barker fell ill, Corbett visited daily, reading jokes at his bedside. Their bond outlasted broadcast schedules. Television often breeds rivalry. They proved camaraderie funnier. That sincerity radiated through every sketch. Viewers sensed friendship behind the punchlines, turning laughter into affection. The two Ronnies weren't characters. They were companionship personified.
If you're talking turkey, I hope you're aware the king of turkeys over there.
Beautiful.
Fact 7.
Well, there you are, 4 candles.
No, 4 candles. Handles for forks.
The Four Candles sketch first aired in 1976 and became a cultural phenomenon. Written by Gerald Wiley, Barker, it relied entirely on misheard words. Set in a hardware shop, it escalated from politeness to absurd frustration. Corbett's shopkeeper represented British patience. Barker's customer embodied linguistic chaos. Every prop was real, rehearsals destroyed multiple shelves of stock. The BBC insisted on filming before a live audience to preserve tension. Barker timed each pause with metronomic accuracy. The studio laughed so hard that microphones peaked. Newspapers printed full transcripts the next day. It entered dictionaries as shorthand for misunderstanding. Linguists use it in lectures on phonetic ambiguity. Even politicians have quoted 4 candles during parliamentary debates. Half a century later, it still ranks among Britain's greatest comedy moments. Its perfection proved how language and timing could create immortality.
Sore tips.
Sore tips. What do you want, ointment or something like that?
Fact 8.
Close and whisper breathily, but don't tell the missus in Clonebberly.
Though quintessentially British, the Two Ronnies sold to more than 80 countries. Subtitlers struggled with puns, often rewriting jokes entirely. In Australia and New Zealand, it aired in prime time for over a decade. Scandinavian viewers adored its polite absurdity. Even American networks broadcast compilation specials on PBS. Letters from Abroad praised its civility compared with US sitcoms. Barker and Corbett toured live shows in Australia in 1979 to standing ovations. The BBC earned millions in overseas sales. Merchandising ranged from LP records to annual books. Their humour travelled because friendship is universal. Decades later, YouTube brought them new generations of fans. Clips like Mastermind and Crossword attract millions of views yearly. International comedians cite them as early influences on sketch structure. What began in London studios became global heritage.
Don't tell me, Brighton. My big end's blown.
I didn't hear a thing.
Fact 9.
The use of linseed oil now.
Good heavens. Is he still around?
I beg your pardon?
Lindsay Doyle.
Filming took place at BBC Television Centre, Studio TC6. Sets were built overnight between variety shows. The production employed over 70 crew members per episode. Camera rehearsals began each Monday, recording wrapped by Friday. Writers delivered new material weekly under immense pressure. BBC engineers recalled Barker's perfectionism about lighting angles. Cue cards were handwritten, replaced minutes before taping. The duo insisted every audience seat have clear sightlines. Dress rehearsals doubled as safety tests for props and pyrotechnics. A single 45-minute show could require 40 hours of preparation. Canteen staff timed meal breaks around costume changes. Despite stress, morale was famously high. Crew described it as the happiest show at Television Centre. Barker rewarded teams with personalised thank you notes each season. That workplace harmony translated directly into screen joy. The show's polish was built on invisible labour and affection.
By the spoiler of all earthly mansions.
Oh, you mean...
He is transferred to Southend branch.
Fact 10.
No, it's not. It's green, and what isn't green is brown and in piles.
After Barker's retirement, both Ronnies were honoured with BAFTA tributes. BBC reruns continue to draw millions on nostalgia channels. Scholars analyse their work as the pinnacle of linguistic comedy. The phrase "it's good night from him" remains embedded in British vernacular. Modern duos like Mitchell and Webb and Ant and Dec cite them as inspiration. Their influence extends to radio, sketch podcasts and university comedy troupes. Statues of both men now stand in their hometowns. Corbett's funeral in 2016 reunited generations of comedians in gratitude. The pair showed humour could be intelligent without cruelty. Their scripts aged gracefully because kindness never dates. The BBC archives preserve every episode in high-definition restoration. Annual Christmas repeats still outperform newer shows. In Britain's collective memory, Saturday night still ends with two smiles. The Two Ronnies prove that true laughter begins and ends with friendship.